Good day, fellow villagers. Welcome back to the Werewolf Guide. This is gonna be a very chaotic but also exciting game, and I thought you might as well learn from my mistakes, so it might as well be a good one. At the beginning, let's make a threat assessment again. You remember this from the Villager Guide. Here in the Werewolf Guide, it is even more important because we want to know the good players and we have to play against them a bit differently. However, this game was played on the NA server, and at that point I didn't really know any of these guys, so I did not really know what to expect, which is also something to play with. Now let's check the starting position again. From here I am too far to run for the crates in the middle, and also the other goodies are not really in reach. You could go for the well on the top of the map, but I wouldn't recommend it. Instead, what I do is I go fishing again, because we are really close. We have the closest position to that fish hut right here. So I buy the fishing pole, I buy the bait, and let's start fishing. And at the beginning, I would like to set some objectives, because it is very important to consider the day and night cycle as werewolf. And there are certain things we just want to have at the end of the first day. So keep that in mind when you are playing Werewolf, to set yourself an objective, and that is you want to have at least the farm at the end of the first day. So you have the dog, because the dog is super important as villager and even more so as werewolf. You will see this. So you want to have that at the beginning of the first night, 100%. And if you don't, as I will here, I will show you how to perhaps at least do some damage control. And the second objective is you want to have animal lure on the dog, so that the dog can bait. This is how a real good werewolf night 1 is supposed to look like. You have your werewolf, you have your dog, you have bait on the dog, and then you can do all kinds of stuff with that. So for the werewolf, for the dog, we need 300 gold, and for the animal lure, we need another 200 gold. So this is the minimum objective we set ourselves at the beginning of the minimum objective at the beginning of the first night is to have dog, and nice to have is animal lure. So we go fishing a little, and again, as in the basic villager guide, I don't want to just keep fishing up until I have all that gold. I want to fish a little bit, then start building the tent, sell the fish, start building the lumberjacks, continue fishing, and then get into the farm. So that's what I'm doing right here. Now from that position, again, I'd like to base up in the waterfall, just because it is not so much of an... and again, there is somebody here. Now let me tell you, if you are the werewolf, even more so, but in general, if you want to base at a place and you see there is already a guy basing there, don't start making a mess, just accept it and move on. Especially if you are the werewolf, you will just draw the attention upon you if you like start making drama saying, oh, I wanted to base here and stuff. Just go somewhere else. Even if it's bad for you, it's still better than getting involved so early with other players, you know? However, this is really bad for me now because I really wanted to base here. And so I realized that, oh, I don't even have enough gold to get into the farm. So that's a pretty bad start already. I might have as well kept fishing at this point, but I felt like it is halfway in the first day already. So I have to get ready. And what I do now is I sell all my fish, I make some lumberjacks, and then I go like with not so much motivation, I go into hunting and try to find some deer or something. So I'm putting my hands into the faith of the werewolf god at this point, which will turn out really bad, you can believe me. So as I've said, you can learn from my mistakes as well. If you see somebody basing there already, you might as well just go back into fishing until you have the 300 gold 100%. Instead, I just base somewhere, like a panic base you might call this, because the spot is really bad. But as a werewolf, you can base in the bad spots also, because you don't have to play with the walls so much. But it will bite me in the butt later, you will see this. So now I'm going into hunting a little bit, trying to find some animals, which I don't, of course. And then I realize, oh my god, the night is almost here and I have like 50 gold. Now I'm putting it all into lumberjack, so I have 0 gold and I don't even have the farm yet. So what I do is I walk up to that well here, because the first player who goes to that well gets a 200 gold bonus immediately. And this will still not give me the farm. However, what I can do is I will now, and this is a little bit of a rare case, I will now trade wood into gold, because I do have the lumberjacks who will continue giving. Oh my god, the sutler just disappeared there, so I couldn't even sell the little gold that I still had in my inventory. And so now I see, oh, the night is drawing much closer, and I have 200 gold and 280 wood, so I trade in a lot of wood to get 100 gold more, so that I have 300 gold, and the lumberjacks will continue gathering wood throughout the night, but I do not have any means to get gold income throughout the night. So it is very important that if I didn't manage to get farm, at least I go up to 300 gold. So then during the night, at least I can still get the farm, which is horrendously bad, but it's still much better than getting it only at the second day. So this is why I'm emergency trading in some wood into gold here, and now we transform without the dog. And I'm already feeling pretty miserable about myself, not gonna lie, but you know, you can just as well try to make the best out of it. So what I do is I try to go to certain spots where I expect a lot of animals to be, and this is one of them. What is that? Southwestern fishing hut. And around here you always find some animals, which is nice. However, I find an animal corpse, so somebody was already hunting here, so I might as well go into the other direction, which is a bit more lucrative anyway. And you want to avoid the spots where the villagers are. This is very important. As werewolf in night 1, you don't want to take the fight to them yet, because you're just not strong and not fast enough to kill them, and they do have the early game regeneration. So it's just not worth it. Instead, you try to kill as many animals as you can, which is also why you need the dog and the bait. Now, I'm just walking around a little bit, finding some stuff, and now here Josh's dog finds me already, but I just retreat from it. I do not want to get involved, and he doesn't chase after me either, which is very nice, because at level 2 I'm pretty slow. He could be very annoying actually, but thankfully he's not. Now I did get my dog, as I've said, because luckily I got to 300 gold. However, now I cannot do the usual thing, which I would recommend you to do, is to keep your dog close, but not too close to your werewolf, with the animal lure, and then just bait the animals or lure the animals towards your werewolf and start softening them up with your dog and last hitting them with your werewolf. Like that you can farm a lot of corpses, but because I'm so poor and because my dog is so far away anyway, I try to just let the werewolf do his own thing and let the dog farm some other stuff on his own and maybe scout a little, so that I can get some more gold. But yeah, this is not what you usually want to do. This is just how I'm improvising here, because I did not meet my my most basic objective at the end of the first day. However, I am finding some good animals at least, so that is something good towards the end of the night. We are getting somewhere. If you have like close to level 5 at the end of the first night, this is something you can at least work with. You really want to have level 5 or level 6 at the end of the first night, and this is absolutely possible. You do not even have to slay Oberon. That's also a thing. In the basic werewolf tutorial, I actually wanted to slay Oberon, so we get a big gold boost from it. And just so you know, you want to last hit it with your dog and soften it up with your werewolf. Usually you do it the other way around, but that beer pelt from Oberon gives you 1.2k gold, and that's a very nice starting boost. However, you do give away that you are the werewolf if you do that, because in 95% of cases, if you see somebody slay Oberon at the end of the night, that is the werewolf. So I wanted to do it in the beginner's tutorial, but not in the advanced werewolf guide, because there we will also be playing against much stronger players, and they will absolutely punish us for giving away that we are Oberon so early. Now at the end of the night I transformed, and I actually wanted to be close to that hunter sludge right here. And the reason for that is I really need to buy boots, because without boots some random dog that walks past us and sees we are a bit underleveled, because as werewolf you tend to be a bit underleveled, some random dog could just kill us. So you need at least boots to run away from the dog, which is why I walked to the hunter sludge as werewolf towards the end of the night. Now, in retrospect, the other hunter sludge might have been smarter, because from there I would quickly get to my base and start making warehouse. But yeah, you see, you really have to make up a lot of stuff on the fly here. So perfect play is far from what you are seeing here, but you can still learn from it. So now we are going into the warehouse. And as you can see here, I'm struggling a bit with the placement, and that is because the spot here is so tight. At the same time, the dog wants to be farming some gold, of course, because we are really poor. We don't even have all the lumberjacks yet. You also want to get that pickaxe upgrade really fast, because from what I know, it increases your lumber income. And as you know, the lumber income is capped, so getting the pickaxe upgrade early is key. Now I'm putting the boar pelts aside as well, and now I just start randomly farming and I just spread my crops into the map, which is not good either, but because the space is so tight in here, we just have to do it. Now there are some 6 wheat seeds up here, which I could have picked up as dog, but somebody already picked them, just so you know. There is also like a candleist brush up here, but I'm not concerning myself too much with that. Yeah, I don't really know what to do at this point. I should get into blacksmith and war tower either, so that I get an army up early. Ah yes, I was waiting for the wandering hunter, that's it, because I wanted to buy some wood alcohol, so that I at least have like a trick up my sleeve. If somebody gets in my face, I could now surprise him with a Molotov cocktail. So I see like there is three objectives I could set myself now towards the end of the second day, because I'm so far behind. One is try to get war tower and blacksmith up, so that you can make army during the second night, which is already really good. One is which is like the emergency things are going bad thing, is I'm trying to get a cauldron up so that I can brew a Molotov cocktail at least, and this is what I'm trying to do now. However, I need a candleist brush for that, so I gotta plant those. And the other thing would be, you could try to get into the plantation already and make like a chicken crop. This would be the more economical way of playing werewolf, which is also really good. Like that you try to remain hidden for a lot longer. But that's not what I'm doing right here. I'm doing sort of a hybrid approach. I'm trying to get blacksmith war tower up, but also try to have the cauldron at the end of the second day, so that I can have the Molotov cocktail ready. And now the dog. Oh, we should talk about this. You can see that little aura surrounding the dog. Now, I don't mean veteran status. We already talked about that. I mean those 2 little skulls circling around it. And that is like the whole howl of terror in Warcraft 3. And in Werewolf, everybody gets a debuff when he has that, except for the werewolf. But the werewolf still has it, it still surrounds him. So when you want to recognize the werewolf, you can just click that aura on any of his units, also on his villager, and if he doesn't get the attack debuff, as I don't here, then you can, with determination, say that guy is werewolf. So if I have that, I do not want to be around anybody, because the good players will recognize me as werewolf if they see I don't have the debuff here. Now trying to get the war tower up as well. This should still be enough time. If you have like 1 empty dot to the end of the day, you can at least finish a building. Maybe that's a good rule of thumb. However, I might not be able to get the Molotov cocktail up in time. I now try to make the fire. You don't need to dig a well for the Molotov cocktail, because it's one of the rare potions that doesn't need spring water. But I think I won't be in time. Yeah. Because now I still have to upgrade it, and now it is approaching the night in 5 seconds, but at least I pick up both ingredients, so that I do not have to like worry about them anymore. Next time I can just come back to the cauldron and get the Molotov cocktail instantly. Of course, I would like to have it now already, but it's better than nothing to at least pick them up. And I also got the war tower up. Now I am really, really poor, so I really can't make any swordsmen, but I do have wood, so I just make range units. Also, whenever you're werewolf, you want to use adrenaline rush right at the end of the day, because then it is still active when you transform, and it will still be active when you transform back into villager, because you used it at the end of the day. So you want to activate it like 3 seconds before you transform. And that has something good because the cooldown keeps ticking down during the night. So it is already refreshed when you transform back into villager, and it is still active at the same time when you transform back without you having to use it again. So you can, like, once you transform, run really quickly in case somebody is trying to, like, search you or is already on your heels and almost seeing you, then you can walk away a little faster. So that's a smart little thing. Always try to use adrenaline rush at the end of the day, which I'm not doing here, but still I'm telling you. And now we transformed level 5 werewolf pretty quickly, so that is okay. Now what I want to do is, because the night has started, of course I cannot concern myself with my base anymore, but when you have some idle time, try to at least ramp up sheeps and pigs or something, just what requires a little clicks and will give you a lot of profit if you just let it be over time. Now here I change the colors, and I change from, you see all of the players with their individual color, like red or green or blue or whatever, into ally colors, so that all of your allied units appear teal on the minimap, and all of your enemy units appear red. And the reason why I do this is so that I can spot my ghouls easily on the minimap. And as you can see here now, they are much better visible than before, because before that they would have been brown. And now what I do is I just take groups of ghouls, and like 2, 3, 4 ghouls, that is enough for one squad. If you only have 2, that's okay, but I would recommend take groups of 3 or 4, and then you just shift click attack spam around the minimap. So you hold down the shift key, and then you just click a lot of A clicks around the minimap in paths that you think are good. You could also use patrol, I think, but I always do it like that. And that means that you don't have to worry about those ghouls anymore, and they will not just stay at the same place. Instead, they will just walk the entire map, so to say, farm the entire map, and as you know, whatever they kill stands up as a ghoul as well. Now there are certain places which you want to avoid, most importantly the one in the middle, which I accidentally clicked right here, so that was bad, because if they go in here, they have to fight the gargoyles which wake up in the night at the castle, and those gargoyles will kill the ghouls. Now here I already find the base of someone, so that is good. Because we even hit level 6, we know where we could attack, and this is what I am doing as werewolf, trying to snag that pack horse. That is always very good, because those pack horses tend to carry something very valuable, so you always want to kill them. Now, once I have done all this shift click spamming around the minimap with the ghouls, I focus back on my werewolf, and now I'm trying to get some actual kills. Because it is the second night, and now as werewolf we are threatening, so we want to get some kills on the board. And whenever you kill somebody, you get all of the resources from that guy, and as you can see, I'm really, really poor, so I desperately need those resources. Now I'm level 6, so I hit the ultimate from the werewolf. I don't really know what it's called. Let's just call it the smell ability. And now all of the villagers appear on the minimap really quickly. Now they appear for like 4 or 5 seconds, so I don't really have the time to imprint into my mind where they are exactly. But you can do just try to roughly memorize some important spots, not all of them. So what I'm keeping in mind now is I see, one guy is close to me at the top right here, so I'm going for that guy next. And 2 guys are at the bottom leg, and there's also some guy at the bottom mine. So this is what I'm keeping in mind now, and more than that doesn't really fit into my mind in such a short time. So I'm just trying to keep some base spots in mind. So what I know now is there is somebody at the bottom lake, somebody at the bottom mine, and one guy to the top right. So I sent my werewolf up to the top right because I did also smell that this guy whose base I found is not at his base. He might be in his farm, but there it just takes too long for me to kill him. So instead I tried to go for the next guy. But what I did also see here is 6 blood roses in the making, and as you can see from me, I am really poor. So I sent over my pack horse. Actually, this is not really smart. The dog would have been better, but I thought the pack horse would not be so obvious or something. So I just sent over my pack horse to his base, trying to grab his plants, which I would not recommend doing if it's going well for you. But I would recommend doing if you are as poor as I am, because like there's a song in German that goes, wenn du zu einem Penner gehst und sagst, du hast nur große Scheine, ist doch klar, dass der dann neidisch wird. And that means like, if you go to a homeless guy and tell him you only have the big bucks, of course he gets jealous and comes after you. And that's a little bit how I was feeling looking at those blood roses, because I have absolutely no gold. So even though it gives away that I am most likely the werewolf, I still send my pack horse in there, because I'm rather a werewolf who is known to the other guys, but has some gold, than one who is unknown and is really poor as a church mouse. But at the same time, I managed to kill that guy over here at the top right. So I did get a nice little boost. And what I find now with my pack horse is that, oh no, he already sold the blood roses and he came back to his base. I hoped he would not come back to his base because I was there already. But he did come back fairly quickly. And now not only is my pack horse in his base, but it is also trapped in his base, because he sealed his base off with walls, and I can't even get out with my pack horse anymore. So that was a bit unfortunate. I did not get any reward, and I just basically signaled to him that I am the werewolf. So yeah, but that didn't go too well for me there. But at least we got a kill in the second night. This is like the minimum objective you want to have, is one kill and get some resources from that, and with that you can keep working. However, yeah, I said I misrallied the pack horse into his base, unfortunately. Now, of course, I'm not gonna win the Oscar with that one. But at the same time, this is not really to convince him that I'm not the werewolf. He already declared war on me. But this is just to keep up the ambiguity a little bit for the other guys, so that it is not 100% obvious for everybody that I am the werewolf. I'm just pretending a little bit at this point, which is fine, you know. You can pretend a bit as werewolf. It is a social game after all, so use the chat if you have to. But don't be too obnoxious, if you know what I mean. So yeah, now I can get that Molotov cocktail, and now I can really go into army. And I should talk a little bit about what kind of army you want to be making. I like to make range units also as werewolf, but the meta, so to say, is you should make the melee units, because those 3 units, they function a little bit like stone, paper, scissors, you could say. And the melee units, the foot soldiers, they are very good against the range units. The range units are good against the cavalry, and the cavalry is good against the melee units. But generally speaking, I think range units are the strongest because they have range. And also as werewolf, that is kind of important, because when somebody is hiding in a corner where you cannot reach him, you can still bring over your range units and kill him like that. But generally speaking, you want to be making the melee units, because they are very strong against the range units, and most villagers will be getting the range units because they hide them behind their walls. And if you have heavily upgraded melee units, they will slash through them like a knife through butter. But for those melee units, you also need a lot of gold. They cost only gold, unlike the range units, which cost only wood. I switched to the melee units now because I have some gold, but I'm trying to ramp up both in parallel. And now with the rest of making the Molotov cocktail finally, And now is about the time I should start thinking about getting armor. So this increases my survivability further. Also, as werewolf, you do want that armor because if you are on the run, they will always get some hits down on you, and it's just much more survivability if you do have that armor. So this is what I want to get into next. Instead, I purchased the canopy tent. This might still be okay if I go to the mines now, but yeah, I should focus on getting the armor. I hope I do that. This would be the right thing to do now. And also, ooh, I just saw that my pack horse picked up the carving knife. This you shouldn't really do because there's like a bug or something. Sometimes when the pack horse picks up the item carving knife, it just dies. I don't know why that happens, but it does happen sometimes. So thank God it didn't die here. Now I start ramping up the sheeps. No, I don't. I start planting crops. Yeah, whatever. I would recommend you do not buy the cheap crops here as I did here. I might have done this from muscle memory. Instead, either buy sheeps and pigs or buy the expensive crops if you are the werewolf, because then you don't have to worry too much about them and it's not too many clicks. You want to focus on other things also at day because it's just so much more hectical. Now, one thing that is good is we really did get a decent amount of units already. Sorry, Balti, I forgot to reply to you for the second time here. We did get a decent amount of units up already, so that is nice. At least something nice. So yeah, things are not running too well for us, but it's not horribly bad either. Against one of the best players, it would look pretty dire, not gonna lie. But against decent players, you can still win, even when there's some of them, not just one. Now I know what I was doing here. I was looking for the elusive stack, which you never find when you look for it, of course, but you always run into it when you don't look for it. So yeah, that was bad. That is really like a niche thing that can be really nice when you get to it, but it's just too uncertain that you will get it. So I should not have done this here. Instead, I should have gone right for the mines, because as you can see, the day is again approaching its end, and if I start mining now, it will be somewhat likely that I am not able to finish my armor. So when I told you for the first time I should be mining now, this is really when I should have started mining. Instead I go here, and again I'm setting the priorities wrong. Maybe I'm hunting a little bit. Perhaps I still needed a boar pelt, so then this is actually worth it. And now I'm really trying to mine as fast as I can. I shouldn't sell those owl pelts or whatever now. I should really be power mining so that perhaps I can still get up to 30 iron. You want 30 iron for that armor. But yeah, the night is coming closer and closer. So you might guess already, I will not be likely. And I just called a pick there. Oh, I killed the elusive stack. So that is a nice random gold treasure because it sells for 500 gold. What you can see here is my base spot again being really annoying because it is so tight. My pack horse doesn't get out anymore, and I just don't have the time to consider that. What you want to be doing is just you hire a lot of sheep and pigs because they're good for XP and income, and then you put them on hold position so that they don't just randomly walk around. Because if they randomly walk into the map, then chances are they just get killed by a random raccoon or a random boar. Those can really wreak havoc on your income if you have a lot of sheep and pigs. So keep your army close to them, or at least some troops. Now I did get up to 24 iron, but of course I didn't get up to 30 and I wasn't in time to make the mall. And not only that, but I also placed my canopy tent on the top right of the mine. So that is also super bad because now I transform into the werewolf and I cannot pick it back up. And if you see like a random canopy tent lying around, or just a building that is like halfway finished and nobody there, that is an obvious sign that this is werewolf again. So yeah, that's another mistake right there. uh, perhaps you could say setting the priorities wrong. I should have just concerned myself, focused more on mining, get the armor, like achieving the objectives which you really want, and not trying to focus on everything at once, which is a little bit my problem here. Now that guy has already built 2 gates, and he has quite some ranged units behind it, so I just have to accept that I cannot crack this at this point, and I have to move on. Now I did get the plantation up, which is nice. Also here already I should tell you, especially if you are werewolf, but in general you want to have your wife close, but not too close to your base, so that you can still send the adolescent males down there to mine some lumber, which is good. But you also want to be making sure that when your base location gets found, then they might attack it and you will lose it. So try to at least keep your wife safe at a slightly different spot. But I'm not doing this here, so that's another mistake. And now again, in the idle time, I shift click spam around the minimap with the ghouls. Also, what you can do is you take a big stack, so just double click the ghouls to select everything close, every ghoul close, and then you start shift click spamming them. And then while you continue holding down the shift key, you press on the ghouls in the what is that? In the bottom tab of the screen, where you have like a summary of all of the ghouls with their health bars and stuff, and you just tap on that a couple of times, and that means with every click you deselect one of the ghouls, so you split the group into 2, so to say, without having to select it again. And then you can just respread for the ones you still have selected, and then they will go into another direction. Just a nice little trick which you might find useful. Now I'm going for Oberon now. It is night 3, I believe. So now it's really not going to be much obvious of a tell anymore. Everybody could slay the bear at this point. And I also need those 1.2k gold. So again, we soften it up and then we last hit it with our dog, which works out nicely here. And at this point it's really not an obvious tell anymore. And we have the sutler nearby, so I could just sell this. Very nice. So a little more gold boost. And now I think I will now go either to the mines or to the south lake, because these are, oh, I bought some jasmine there also. That is good to know, because we can use those for a speed potion. And that's just another trick up our sleeve. If we have a speed potion, once they get to us, it means we will be likely to get away. So I just randomly passed by the sutler with my dog, and we might as well do the best out of it. So I sent it back to my base. And now really, I saw one base that I couldn't crack. Now I'm going to the second one here. And I see that guy is just as fortified, or even more so than the last one. He's quite high level with tons of archers, so no point I'm attacking this with my werewolf. I just have to keep farming animals at this point, because I do not want to attack with my army yet, because some of the guys might still believe that it's not me. While this Trusty, of course, he is pretty sure that it's me, and rightly so. Now the next base I might check is the bottom lake. And if those guys are fortified as well, then I have to change my strategy. And that means it's already the end of the night here. So I change my strategy into, during the next night, I'm no longer attacking only with my wolf. So I'm getting my army as well, because otherwise I just can't crack those guys anymore. They are already sitting behind walls and with ranged units. So I have to bring my own army to take the fight to them. And this will, of course, shift the tides back into my favor, given that it is only one guy, and only one army I have to fight. If they are multiple armies at the same time, it's looking much harder. Now, finally, I'm getting the Horn of Valhalla. I might also be getting the Chessman Potion now that I'm here. Yes, I'm doing that, actually. Or am I? Yeah, having to reorganize myself a little. Oh, I dug a well nicely, so I can brew the potion now. And now finally I want to get the armor again. 1 potion is enough, by the way. Move most of the potion. You can stack them in your inventory up to 6, but the jasmine potions all take up 1 slot each, so you don't really need to brew much more than 1, even though I had another jasmine there. Now I'm going back to the mines, trying to finish what I started, because I have the 24 iron still. And now the economy is starting to look a little better because my sheep and pig have matured a lot. So I can now start upgrading my army so that I will have a considerable force at the beginning of the next night. And then I can start crushing bases. So now I'm upgrading the tier of my units, the soldiers. I'm upgrading first because those will be more important. It is nice to have some range units in the back, but I don't want to upgrade them first because getting wood is harder at this point. So I switch back into upgrading my soldiers. Now I see one guy has reached level 25 already, which is a bit scary, but it can mean everything really. You can reach level 25 really fast if you don't focus on army or on some of the other important things like armor. But you can also get it really fast and have a big army already, of course, if you are really good. So yeah, we have 1 day now and still nobody is attacking us, which is really good. They're still, well, good for us. They're still concerned about further improving their defenses, leveling up and stuff. So now that we are untouched, I can just keep ramping up my own army and getting ready. And so now I see this guy pinged down here. And this is the base that I will try to crack, because I didn't see the defenses there yet, but I know the spot is rather small, so perhaps it might be easier to get in there. And also I'm trying to put my army into the right position already now, so that once the night falls I can already attack. Now here I just randomly visited the stone and I found out, oh, there is actually the Founder Lizard diamond here. Now at this point of the game it is not strong anymore, but still I put my canopy tent down and I just put my stone into the inventory so that we have one more ace up our sleeve, which is free already now, so we can do some fancy stuff if we get attacked at this point. We can also almost snipe a villager if he doesn't have army, because that Molotov cocktail and the Founder Lizard, they will do like 300 or 350 damage already, which can be a surprise kill. Now my army is walking down towards the south of the map, trying to attack, getting into position, and also my dog. This is very important. When you attack, you need to attack with your dog, and I would recommend giving him a fire gin from the mid shop and some dynamite. So mid shop control becomes very important at this stage of the game. The good players, they will have a fire around here or some troops, so that when Werewolf sends his dog over here to buy some Whim of the Druid or dynamite or fire gin, which are all very good items, then you can just snipe him, and if Werewolf doesn't have the dog during the night, it's a lot worse for him. Now that guy Trusty was actually at the mid shop. However, I have my entire army here and he set his priorities a little wrong because he tried to pick his stuff back up, and now I can zone him with the dynamite a little, and yeah, with the range units I get a surprise kill, which was very lucky for me, get some more resources, so I don't have to worry about the base in the west side of the map anymore, in the middle. And also, I can keep kinda pretending because he already declared war on me. So sorry, bro, that I killed you. I mean, it wasn't my bad. But now he says stop pretending, and he's kinda right with that, so I stop pretending. Also, I'm about to crush the other guys with dynamite, so there's no point in pretending anymore either. So we can just as well embrace the memes. Which is why I admit now, yeah, I'm the werewolf. Now I give myself the color orange, which is the werewolf color traditionally speaking. I rename myself into something fancy, and now I'm trying to go after the guys at the bottom of the mines. Now I do not have my dog ready because I did send it into another direction just so that he survives, because I don't want my dog killed. But now I'm still trying to just crush the base with my army, which does also work in that case. Ideally speaking, you want to place dynamite with the dog to blow up the walls and then go in. But because the army is rather big, it also works with that. And because we did get some more gold from the kill, I'm grading up the tier of my melee units further, so we're getting quite far here. And what I realized now is that there is actually two guys basing down here, which I really wouldn't recommend because the spot is just too tight. You limit yourself a lot when you do that. I would really get claustrophobia if I had to base with somebody else in that little spot right here. But they're doing it. And this is good for us because we just get 2 kills at once. So twice the surprise, very nice. And now we get really rich because those guys, they both had a big bank. And at this point, the tides have started shifting into our favor. Because before that, we were poor, we couldn't crack anybody because the walls were up and the melee, the range units were behind them. But now, all of a sudden, we are very threatening. Because there's just 2 guys left, I believe, or 3 guys left. And we are so rich we can now get everything. So I want to quickly grade up the army to the highest tier in both range and melee, which is very strong. And I want to get all of the upgrades from the blacksmith as well. As you can see, I'm going back to the to my buildings now while I'm walking over to the to Joshu at the southwest of the map. I'm getting all of the upgrades, even the masonry upgrade, which you don't really want to get as a werewolf because it's only good to protect yourself behind walls. But still, you know, if I have so much gold, I might as well get everything. Now, I did use the last dynamite to blow up the wall, which is nice, and just place the fire chin as close to him as you can. And now I should have retreated with my dog, but that's a little bit of, how should I say, a beauty mistake right there, because we did place the fire chin and we did blow up the wall, so the dog did what he could and what he should have. So if I retreated him and saved him now, that would have been nice, but if I didn't, he still did what he came for. Now I'm using the smell ability again, and I see there is one other guy in the middle of the lake. And now this guy right here, I'm very confident that I can absolutely crush him, because even though my werewolf has gotten low on health and his trusty zombie comes up here, now I'm trying to snatch him. As the werewolf, you always want to focus the zombies first, because they have the stun ability, which is very dangerous to you in combination with the range units from somebody else. And they are very slow and they give you a lot of XP if you kill them. So when you see a zombie as a werewolf, really go for them. You really want to kill them. They are very valuable. And now the other guy comes to his help. So now really my werewolf has to retreat. This is no place for me anymore. And now I see Josh Hughes getting out of his base. I just couldn't care for that place for a little. And in this exact moment, he gets out of there and he runs back into the arms of his allies. Now, this is like the kind of health that I could snipe now with my 2 items. So I walk into it real quick with my villager. But this is exactly how I could die, because I am also very low on health. So I just, I have to retreat again, especially when this guy shows up with his ranged units. He would insta-snipe me. So in the last moment I retreated there, which was very wise. I do not want to just mindlessly try to snipe one guy and then I still die, because it's 1 versus 7 after all. I want to kill everybody, not just that one guy. So I bring my villager into safety, and because I have trying to make the lighthouse now, if you have tons of gold, make that lighthouse, always send away all of those ships, it's not many clicks. And in the meantime, I let my army fight down there, because I know the tier of my units is pretty high. I have the 2nd highest tier on the range units, and I have the highest tier on the melee units, so I was confident I could fight that even against 2 armies, because I saw that they did not have the highest tier yet. However, I realize now that this is not a winning fight anymore, and we only take winning fights, so I retreat my army. I might lose some more units on the retreat, but it's better than losing everything, so I just send it on the run. Now, of course, exactly where I wanted to build the lighthouse, there is a beer, but let's just not get too much caught up in that and rebuild it. And now I see Trusty Zombie again. I did not manage to kill him, but my army does now, luckily. Again, you want to kill those zombies, because their stuns are very dangerous for your werewolf and your villager. They can place like the haunted corpse ability on the ground, and that corpse will just attach itself to an enemy unit close to it, and that stuns it, and it deals a lot of damage actually, so it's very dangerous. Now here I'm doing another mistake. I'm retreating my army back to my base, and I should not do this. I also did this out of like panic mode. And the thing is, now I lure their army to my base, which I really don't want to do. So I shift the direction in the last second to just some other place because I realize, oh, this is bad. And now again, you can see how my pack horse is trapped between all those sheep and pigs because of how tight my base spot is. Now I'm getting the upgrades first, fine, for the lighthouse, but I really should send away the ships, which I completely miss, because now my base is getting attacked. So yeah, even though I sent my army into another direction last second, they still kept going into that direction, and now they found my base, which is bad, and now they also find my wife, which is bad, because the reason why that is so bad is you do never get that wife back. So once they kill her, she's gone, yeah? And she keeps spawning adolescent males up to 5 if you don't have 5 yet. So you always want to keep her alive, that is important, because those adolescent males can do all kinds of useful things for you. We did not really get into this. Most importantly, they can spread fires around the map, so that you can feel a bit more secure as the werewolf about where you can go and where not. But we will go more into this in the advanced werewolf guide. Just so you know, you want to keep that wife alive, and that is why you want to keep her away from your base. And I didn't do that here, so that is bad, because now that they found my base, they can kill her alongside everything else I have. Now I'm still making that chicken crop here, which is kinda unnecessary actually. It's just like, oh yeah, I have so much gold, I can maybe do something with it. Now I retreat into my base, and usually this is just annoying because he will get to kill it anyway eventually. But in that case, it is actually useful because I did get the masonry upgrade, and he doesn't have the fully upgraded rifleman yet. So it takes so long for him to kill that base that it will already turn back into night. So I actually am able to save my wife and my children like that. Now again, the most important objective if you lose your base during the day is survive, of course. So do not go to the, don't play risky, so to say, but also if you can, replace the blacksmith and the war tower so you can keep building army during the night. So this is exactly what I'm doing now. The most important thing is to just replace the blacksmith and the war tower. And I have the army around here so that I could fight a little bit. Now that guy walks into me, but I can't really kill him, not worrying about it either. And by the way, my dog refueled on dynamite and fire gin again, so this is what I will be using to try and crack the next base. Also try to have this ready and try not to lose the dog at any cost. You can recall it once, but that recall ability has a lot of cooldown, so you cannot lose it more than 2 times during the day. So take care of that dog really. Now I'm starting to spread some fires, and I'm putting my wife into a more safe spot now. But yeah, at this point it doesn't really matter anymore. Now I have a super high level on Werewolf, I have Dog with Dynamite, I have fully upgraded melee units and fully upgraded rifles, so at this point I'm very very strong at night, and they also realize this, so they have teamed up in the base at the waterfall. This is where they choose to make their last stand, so to say. So Joshua has rightfully abandoned his spot at the southwest because he could not longer hold that, so that was a smart decision. However, the army is still marching up, still on the run, and that is pretty bad actually, because on the field I can just snipe it, it doesn't really do much. But not caring about that at this point, not even caring about the dynamite, because the masonry upgrades are not here. So now I can just stream in units and attack it with my werewolf. And because he only has range units, and I have the fully upgraded melee units behind my range units, this is no longer defendable for them. So that is the end of the game we are witnessing right here. I thought it was a really nice one, because they were not too bad, they knew how to defend themselves, and they also played together. As you could see, the guy from the waterfall base came to the help of Joshua, so that was also pretty nice. I did not manage to snipe him there, I had to retreat, and thankfully I did not just mindlessly try to snipe him anyway with the Molotov or the Thunder Lizard, because this is how I could have absolutely died. And then, even though I made a lot of mistakes, you could still argue we did the most important things right. Maybe a little too late, maybe not at the right time, but still it turned out pretty well. So again, I think what you can see from this is, even if a lot of things go wrong, for as long as you set your priorities right and focus on the right things, you can still win even against good players. Maybe not against the best, not gonna lie. The best players, they would have toasted me in this sort of game because of how it was looking for me. But still, this was a really nice game, I thought. Let's see at the end here if I forgot to mention some things. I put down some notes. Yeah, maybe just as a little feedback on the villager guide, you can neglect spreading all of those fires. This is actually more important as the werewolf. So in the basic villager guide, don't spread the fires if you just don't have the APM to do so. Instead, focus more on getting that armor. It's much more important. And again, the sheeps and pigs, I did not mention during the villager guide that you can put them on hold position, which is very useful. I think I said that here. And the rest I think we covered. So yeah, I hope you liked it. I hope you got to taste a little bit of how Werewolf is supposed to be played, about how you also have to improvise, how to set your priorities right, how to recognize Werewolf, what it means if you don't set your priorities right, the consequences you could have also seen here. So yeah, I thought it was a really nice guide, and I hope to see you in the next one next week, which will be the Advanced Villager Guide. So that's going to be very exciting. Stay tuned and see you there. Bye bye.